All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to you from the Pangos All-American Camp 2026 right here, Bishop Gorman High School. I am Patrick Pratt, host of Hoops Flicks Plus Nothing But Net podcast. My co-host Dino Stragonis will join us in a minute, but right now we have Frank Burleson from frankburleson.net, basketball analyst. He was here covering the camp. And how'd you like the camp this time?
Well, I see Patrick, as you will know, I think I've been to most of them, from USC to Cabrillo High in Long Beach, to Long Beach City College, to Cerritos College, and then
This is the 24th one, huh?
yeah, this is the 24th one, and I think since about 21, they've all been Las Vegas since post pandemic.
Right.
They kind of moved to Las Vegas, and it's kind of now the home. So I think this one is, even when you look back historically, with all the lottery picks with the NBA, a couple of MVPs, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, people like that for number one overall picks. It's too early to say how these guys we watched the last 3 days are going to pan out. Beyond the high school, with at least most of them one more year of high school before they even go to college, and then with the way the rules are set up, a couple more years before they could be in the NBA. But I think relative to this stage of where they were, as 17, 18-year-olds, as we were talking about before we went on the air, a lot of very, very Eastern-based guards, if you want to count Florida, with Aaron Britt from the Villages in Florida.
Yeah, he played well.
Yeah, I just think a ton of traditional type of point guards, from Micah Gordon's from New Jersey, and PSA Cardinals of the.
Oh, yeah, Michael Gordon was dazzling in this camp.
Yeah, so I think lots of very good guards.
Tyler Sutton.
Yeah, Tyler Sutton, the Philly kid who was, like Micah Gordon, two guys who were here in this very same facility a year ago were outstanding. So I think
Abramson played well.
Yeah, I just think the guard play, traditional point guards play, and a lot of big wings from the Arizona prep schools, and some dynamic, big, athletic, shot blocking, running, jumping post guys.
Louis Uwo.
Yeah, I think, like I say, this is the first time I had a chance to watch him play, and I know he was at Dinos' Miami camp a few weeks ago, and he lived up to all the hype in terms of shot blocker, rebounder, high energy, runner, jumper, a little raw offensively, but you can tell that he'll put in the work it takes to be a low post scoring threat.
I've never seen anybody so enthusiastic about blocking shots. He smiled on 99% of his blocks. He was smiling and laughing at the guys and continuing to play. So that kind of enthusiasm on defense is great.
You said it, Patrick, not in terms of just enthusiasm, but just you seem to be a real joyful presence in terms of loving the game and running hard and never complaining.
Right.
And even when his team wasn't playing, in between sessions, you'd see him shooting free throws and interacting with other camp members or coaches and stuff, and just a guy who just really seemed to enjoy the whole experience.
Yeah, and that's great to see. I thought Howard Williams played real all around.
When you look at him, I think he's a Chicago kid, although he goes to a place for overtime elite in Atlanta. When you look, he's interesting dimensions. I mean, long arms, almost like a Kawhi Leonard, broad shoulders, and good around the post. But then you see he hits threes. He playmate. He moved the ball around.
Oh, man.
He might have been the most versatile.
I think
in terms of a guy who's got a lot of offensive knowledge, but in terms of like a Draymond Green a little bit, probably shoots better than Draymond Green, but can be a power forward, a small ball 5-man, and go out in the wing and lead breaks. So he was the guy who I thought certainly, even though people knew who he was, I think when people get a look at him on watching the college coaches might have watched Baller TV or watch the archives later on, you're going to see him and go, wow, he can play in a lot of systems and a lot of different offenses and a lot of different positions, and guard, power forwards, guard, again, with what college basketball and pro basketball has become in terms of, unless you're a Wimby, you're going to have maybe a guy who's not the traditional size center, but a guy who's physical enough to guard in the post, rebound inside, and do some things offensively that'll drag opposing big men away from the basket.
I like the guy you mentioned from the Arizona, Kerr Luau.
Yeah, and then prep school who goes to
AZ Campus.
Yeah, AZ Campus, and then Jalen White, another kid who was here last year, who's big, strong, wingish, and really shot well, and could drive it. It's very physical and beautiful. Looking jump shot at that physical big wing size.
I mean, every time Kerr Luau got the ball, I felt like something good was gonna happen.
Yeah, he's not real physical in terms of, unlike Jalen White, who's big, strong, and probably like 210. Luau might be 180, 185, but tight jumper, could play through or around contact, and drive it, dunk it, pass it.
Slash through and got a nice.
Yeah, he was. And again, he was a guy who was kind of making a little name for himself in the spring on the club scene and EYBL and stuff. And the 3 days he played here, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, he showed that he's going to be targeted by a lot of college programs from coast to coast come July when all the shoe circuit games start up again.
Yeah, Howard Williams had hurt his ankle late in the second half, so I'm glad it's summertime to take some time off, get healed for the next showcase. How about C.J. Rawson? He's long. I like his upside.
He's another guy who is kind of a unique, and again, he's a guy who's been, a big reputation. I think originally from Carolina or something. Now he plays for the prep school down in Florida. Anthony Black's high school coach, I think, runs it. Yeah. He's good. I mean, he's 6'9", 6'10". As we saw in the All-Star game, just popping, jump shooting 3-pointers, and had a couple monster dunk. The only thing, he reminded me a little bit of the big kid from Tennessee, Nate Ament, who was being projected as a top 10 pick. Again, was a McDonald's All-American in 2025. But he reminded me a lot of him. The one thing when you see that size and skill and things like that, you kind of wish he'd play a little bit harder, but certainly there's no nitpicking his size and skill level that he has at 6'9", 6'10", and he's certainly, if you were to project the best prospects, kind of the nebulous prospects instead of player, what he can do at his size, and once he gets a little more strength and maturation, I mean, he's, I like to say at 6'10", he's the definitive big wing type player who can do a lot of things that all over the floor.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have the scouts salivating looking at him, boy. A couple of guards you mentioned, or we didn't mention, but we was talking about how guard heavy it was. Kareem Smith-Bay, I think he was a 2 guard though. He played pretty well. Trey Keith got hot there. He was like a combo.
Yeah, scoring. He was a guy who's just he really gets into a rhythm. He's going to pull up anywhere, 3-point line or beyond, and hit shots. And if they chase him off the line, he was going to put it on the floor. But he was, certainly he was one of, a lot of good 2-guard types here. I thought even the Southern California kid, Josiah Nance, big, strong, left-handed, 2-guard stroke, and he was an Anthony Peeler or somebody like that.
Yeah.
And then Zaire Rashan from Damien, who actually, led all California high school players last season in 3-point shooting, and I think got here like JJ Sadi Greer from Sierra County didn't get here till Monday morning, so only played 3 regular camp games, but I think he had 15 threes in his 3 games, and then hit a couple in the All-Star game, and Covey and Nance, Notre Dame, a program that's produced a lot of, and Sherman Oaks produced a lot of players in recent years. Tyler Stokes was there as a junior, and Dusty Stromer and guys like that. Certainly, and now they got Navarro Bowman, who's been the sophomore of the year and junior year in Southern California.
Where's he going?
He's going to be a senior, but
still at Notre Dame.
Yeah, he's at Notre Dame, so he's you tag him with Josiah Nance and a few other guys they have coming back. You see it just when you talk about that Mission League, but Notre Dame is Sherman Oaks, Harvard, Westlake, Sierra Canyon, St. Francis is going to be Loyola, Crespi. It's real easy to see why. Wow, that's a league that's kind of even. Trinity League traditionally with Mater Dei and Bosco and Santa Margarita and stuff, but that Mission League, which is kind of based in the San Fernando Valley. I mean, I could see them next season having as many as 5 of the Southern Section Open Division teams. There's that much talent spread and size, and we talked about J.J. Sadi Greer, who, in my humble estimation, is the number 1 class of 2028 point guard in the state. And people think back that he didn't even start this year, but he came off the bench in that Open Division Championship game in Sacramento on March 14th when they were down double figures to Salesian of Richmond, and they were down in double figures. And I think Maxie Adams got hurt, so he went out early, and he came off the bench. I think had like 4 or 5 steals, 10 assists. Just a dynamic playmaker who pressures the ball, and once he gets in the open floor, he's gonna find a guy for a layup or a wide open shot. So you throw all those guys together with the Notre Dames, with the Harvard Westlake, with the Crespi and Matt Barnes' twin sons. It's going to be a dynamic Mission League race again next season.
All right. They had like 3 players tied for the most threes. Got a little award that was.
We mentioned Zaire Rashan from Damien and
Howard
Willis. Again, it shows his versatility at 6'7", 220 or whatever, and then the slender left-hander from Desert Pines. Aaron McMahon, who looks like he's about 11 years old, but had that Tayshaun Prince, skinny, deep, almost a set shot at times. So that obviously he's a very instinctive shooter and scorer. And 2 more years of high school, he's going to be one of the better players out of Vegas in a while.
A couple other players that stood out: Dooney Johnson, Musa Kamasoko, Omar Dabo. A couple of those forwards. Who was the guy? What was his name? Frashad Tipsy.
Yeah, who was a dynamic athlete. Yeah. We mentioned Patrick. You mentioned Dooney Johnson from Milwaukee, who was another guy who was here last year and did very well. And I think it was like in the fall, October or something. He committed to Gonzaga, so he committed to Gonzaga before he had played a single game his junior season. And then when you watch them the last 3 days, you can see why Mark Few in the Gonzaga program, caught his eye, because he's extremely versatile, does a lot of things at about 6'6", and not quite as physically strong as Howard Williams, but could put the ball on the floor and shot it pretty well, and played all over the floor. So he's one of the multitude of. And then another kid I really liked who was here last year is the target of pretty much everybody in the Southeastern Conference, Dylan Jones from Bartlett, Tennessee, who had some monstrous hard dunks and finishes in the traffic, and played with a lot of energy and dynamic toughness that you hate to say the cliche, but you can kind of say, well, that looks like a Southeastern Conference player. I think Alabama and Tennessee and Georgia and even Texas A&M, and when here's Texas A&M, it still takes a while to get used to knowing that that's it's not a Big 12 or Southwestern Conference, Southwestern Conference, but now it's a Southeastern Conference program.
Yeah, he was the MVP of the top 60 game for the losing team. He played well.
Hey, talked about the All-Star games, but in all the guard play, and I think, Patrick, I think we mentioned Tyler Sutton, one of the point guards who was here a year ago, and the Philly kid, but damn, 15 assists in the All-Star game, and moved, I think we got here, like I say, 15 assists, and just
17 points. 15.
Oh yeah, just moved the ball and played with energy, pressured the ball, and you know, Micah Gordon was on the other team, the kid from New Jersey, who was you know, with Lewis shared the overall camp most outstanding player, but just a dynamic guys who just played with so much energy.
How about Zion Green?
Yeah, Camden, New Jersey, who was here last year, and I think he's down for a prep school in Arizona too, but high energy guy, had some high flying dunks in transition, hit a couple of big threes, and again, like CJ Rosser, 6'8", 6'9", and a lot of skill, so that he's not a traditional power forward even at that size, but more of a big wing who could do a lot of things out away from the basket.
Mahindra Raha. Jaden Mahindra Raha might be the name of the camp.
And you're a better man than me, Gunga, than if you can pronounce that as smoothly as
Well, I had to ask him. I was saying Mahindra Raha at first, but he helped me out. Yeah, he played well.
Yeah, dynamic, played hard, just tough, drove it, shot it well.
One of the guys from here, underclassman, he got hops. I like his upside, Noah Grossman.
Yeah, every time I think of Noah, I think of his dad, Andy Grossman, way back in the late glory days of UNLV in the 90s, and stuff was the sports information director at UNLV with a lot of outstanding players and stuff. I think he replaced Tommy Shepard, who went on to be the GM for a while for the Washington Wizards. So just goes to show you that Grossman probably watched a lot of UNLV run and rubble games growing up, and now he's putting it on the floor, and you know, one of the most prestigious, successful high school programs anywhere in the West, and here at Bishop Gorman with Grant Rice.
Yeah, he's always exciting to watch. So yeah, it was a pretty exciting camp. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We just wrapped it up today.